What's going on, you guys? It is Resto, and today we're going to be discussing the 19 Twink Rogue. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing your gear, the best in slot choices that you're going to be choosing, along with alternatives until you get those best in slots. I'm going to be discussing your talents, the typical builds that you're going to be wanting to using throughout your battleground experiences, and then I'm also going to give out some tips just in general for the rogues, things that you can do to make your gameplay a little smoother. Without further ado though, let's get right into it and start discussing this guide. Alright, so there's been a lot of guides out there that kind of give a bunch of misleading advice and just don't really show everything that needs to be shown for a 19 Twink Rogue, the most common Twink in my opinion to be made. Actually, they're probably the easiest to be made. That's probably why they're so commonly made compared to other Twinks where you don't have to grind as much gear. I know rogue gear is pretty simple to get, but other than that, let's jump right into the gear, guys. So if you guys are watching this in phase 1, just know that a lot of the gear that I'm going to be showing you guys today isn't going to be available right away. I know phase 2 is right around the corner, so you're able to get most of the gear. I think one item is going to be unobtainable until phase 4, which is the lucky fishing hat. I know that doesn't come out until phase 4 when Zul'Gurub gets released. That's also when the fishing extravaganza is released as well, which is when you farm the lucky fishing hat, but no big deal. I'll go show you all the alternatives that you guys can use. That way you can fill in those voids and you actually have some sort of gear to kind of replace that until the best in slot item is available and ready to be equipped. So let's start with the hat. Is the lucky fishing hat. You're going to want to apply your 100 HP Librum to that. You guys can get that from endgame players. They'll have to apply it for you. I believe you can apply the fishing hat yourself. If not, don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure you have to have a 60 to do it. But other than that, that's what you're going to do for that. If you don't have your fishing hat yet, if you're not watching this in phase 1, you're going to be getting the green tinted goggles. These are going to be your alternative until the lucky fishing hat is available. I'm pretty sure you can apply the Librum to this as well. Don't quote me. But you're going to want to get the green tinted goggles and use that as an alternative for the lucky fishing hat. Your second item is going to be the neck, which is the Scout's Medallion. This item is not available until phase 2, which is actually around the corner for the phase 1s watching right now. So nothing will be able to be an alternative for this, so you kind of just got to wait out for that. But to obtain this, you have to get honored with the Warsong Outriders. I believe the reputation is called. Pretty easy to get if you think about it. If you guys have a lot of good geared Twinks on the server, you should be fine. I personally plan for Arena, so I believe the people that I'm going to be queuing up with are mostly going to be Twinks. I know there's going to be a lot of Twinks in the battleground now that it's more well known. I already seen a bunch of them in the World PvP area, kind of just taking out 20s. But in terms of battlegrounds on Classic, I'm pretty sure what their plan was to combine all servers into one. That way it's not just server or realm dependent. That makes sense. I think they're gonna have mass servers just combine into one BG queue and just queue as that. That way it's faster queues. Other than that, it's usually like 10 rep per cap, and then you get about 165 rep per win. So if you guys are on a solid win streak or your faction wins a lot, that's about 55 wins in total to get about 9k rep from neutral to honored. So that's something to consider. You're definitely going to do a lot of grinding. A lot of BGs are going to be happening, considering there is no time limit on these Warsong Gulches. So who knows how long those games are going to be, but definitely will be a grind to get this neck. Second, it's going to be the Trailblazer Mantle. This is going to be your best in slot shoulder for damn near every single class is going to be wearing this. There's really no other alternative for this. It's pretty simple to get. You guys just do a quest through the Wailing Caverns. Go ahead, go on wildhide.com. You can go ahead and look this up and how to get it. It's pretty simple. Basically what you're doing is you're going to Wailing Caverns and killing the very last boss, which is the giant Murloc, and he drops a glowing stone. You kind of just do the chain from there. If you guys are unaware on how to pre-plan your 19 Twink, don't worry. I will be showcasing a video of everything that you need to do, what to do, where to do it, when to do it, how to do it, etc. For 19 Twinks in general. This goes for every class. It's just going to show you how to pre-plan, what to do. That way you're able to get every single piece of gear that you need without hitting level 20. Typically what I do, as you can see the experience down below, 585 out of 2130. This is typically how much XP you should have when you hit 19. If not that, maybe 2 bars. You should be very low in XP when you hit 19, and it should typically be through a questing, or you're kind of grinding mobs until 19. You just want the very minimum amount of XP, just, you know, to avoid any troubles in the future. Anyways, that's a whole separate video I can make if you guys want. Other than that, the neck that you're gonna, or not the neck, the cloak that you're gonna go for is the Sentry Cloak. It's a very common cloak for a lot of twinks as well. You're gonna go ahead and apply 3 agility on that. I'm pretty sure it's available right now, so you can go ahead and apply that. The Sentry Cloak is pretty simple to get. It's a world drop, but it's about 30 gold in the auction house, depending on your server. Fairlina, it's about 30 gold, so I mean, it's not expensive at all. Go ahead and cop that. And then your the chest piece you're going to get is the Black and Defiance armor for the Horde. Go ahead and apply all stats to that, +4. Obviously, this enchant is not available yet, so what you're going to do instead is apply the Librum that you applied on your helmet, which is the +100. That's going to be a good alternative for you guys to have until the +4 comes out. Take note, +4 is very, very, very expensive. So make sure you have a lot of gold. That's why I'm saying, you know, go ahead and apply the +100 on there for right now. You could apply the +3, but I really don't recommend that. If you're going to go big dick, you might as well get the top tier stuff. Don't waste your gold on something that you're shortcutting yourself on. So go ahead and apply the Librum, 100 HP, save that gold, get your +4 stats. That way you guys are ready to go. If you're Alliance, you're going to go ahead and apply the Tunic of Westfall. I know some people are like, don't apply Tunic of Westfall, blah blah blah, stam's better. That's completely wrong. Don't listen to that. You want that agility. That agility is huge. That is extra dodge, my guys. So you need to apply that agility to your twink. Dodge is huge for rogue. So Alliance definitely has a favoritism in terms of gear for a rogue. You guys got Tunic of Westfall and Seal of Rin, so that's absolutely huge. So go ahead and apply the +4 stats if you can when the time comes and it comes out to be applied. Other than that, apply the 100 HP Librum. It's going to be a good alternative until that comes out. Bracers, 4 leather bracers, obviously easy. Even on retail, this is used, so that's going to be your best in slot for the bracers. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I did see a bracer that wasn't named 4 leather bracers with 5 agi. You guys could use that as well. As long as it has +5 agi, you're chilling. But typically, 4 leather bracers are going to be the most common on the auction house. I think I stole mine for like 5 gold. They're very common to get, so they're not going to be expensive. And then you're going to go ahead and +5 or +9 stamina onto it. Very, very cheap enchant, so you should have no issue getting that. That should probably be one of your first enchants that you guys get for your twink, just because of how cheap it is. Other than minor speed and the +9, very simple enchants that you guys can obtain. But that is your go-to for your bracers. Be sure to get that. Easy stuff. For the gloves, the scouting gloves of the monkey, there's a very good variety of the monkeys. By what I mean by that, there's like a +2/2, +3/2, +3/2 in agility, or there's +3/2 in stamina to agility. It's real weird, but you want to look for the 4/4. Now this is for survivability. If you guys want like pure glass cannon, then you're gonna want to go for the bristlebark gloves. A lot of people go for this just for the max DPS. Me personally, I like a little survivability in my twink. I like to have some stamina, that way I can maintain myself. Still typically applying the bristlebark gloves, you're dropping yourself down to 1271 HP, so I like to have that 1300 threshold. That's just me. Just having that much HP as a rogue plus the damage output that you're going to be having is key. That's just my opinion. If you guys want the glass cannon set, by all means go ahead and go for the bristlebark gloves. For your enchant, you're going to want the +15 agility. That is huge. I cannot stress that enough. That is the most insane enchant you could possibly have on a twink, other than Crusader, but I'll get into that later. Obviously, +15 agility isn't out yet. That's not to the later phases. So what you're going to be doing is going to +7 agility. That is out right now. So you guys are just going to have the down rank until +15 agility does come out. +7 does just fine. So go ahead and apply that. You're going to use that instead. For your belt, you're going to use the Deviate Scale Belt. This is a very, very, very common belt that you guys can get. You obviously get the pattern through the Wailing Caverns quest. I just bought mine for like 3 gold. I really didn't care to get the stuff to craft it because I just couldn't be asked to farm the mats. So I just bought it off the auction house for like 3 gold. Very cheap stuff. I'm sure somebody will overprice it in the future, but I just got mine for 3 gold instead of having to farm the mats for it. The mats do come from Wailing Caverns itself, so you just got to farm the scales from the raptors, I believe, and then you just combine it and make the deviate scale belt. Another alternative is the Screechers Belt, but I know not a lot of people go for that. It's not a very common belt to have as a rogue. 5 agility and 6 stamina is way better than 3 stamina and 12 attack power. So you kind of want the survivability. So the deviate scale belt is going to be your go-to belt to use for your 19 Twink. Moving on to the legs is the Leggings of Fang. Obviously, there's no alternative for this. This is a common belt or a common pants throughout many classes for twinking. I know warriors use this as well. It's a very OP leg piece to be using just for this level. It's insane. That's 9 agility and 5 strength. Absolutely nuts. We're going to go ahead and apply the lever to this as well. Not really much you can do with enchants, so might as well get that plus 100 HP bonus. Moving on to the legs is your feet of the lynx. Obviously, you're going to put minor speed into this. You are not going to be using any other enchant other than minor speed increase. Minor speed increase is going to be insane for any twink that you're using, and you'll see why when you're doing world PvP or just anything in general. Usually you're gonna have people kiting you, you're gonna have people running away from you because like, oh shit, a twink's about to gank me. Well, that minor speed increase can let you catch up to them, so you have no issue. Minor speed in general can be used as a good outplay mechanic to gouge somebody and then just haul ass out of there. That way you can get to your healers, or you just need to escape the scene in general because there's too many people coming at you. So minor speed, obviously your go-to. If you guys can't afford Feet of the Lynx right away, I know I caught Feet of the Lynx on my Twink on Fairlena for I think 5 gold. It was a pretty good steal. I think they're about 20 gold now, which is your common price for a lot of your BOEs when it comes to 19 twinking. Is about 20 to 50 gold is going to be your common threshold in terms of how much you're going to be paying for the item. If you guys can't get Feet of the Lynx right away, no worries. Horde, you're able to favor yourself with the Trailblazer Boots. That's 3 stamina, 7 agility. Now you get this boot by killing a special NPC. It's a rare NPC actually that has a respawn timer. It's not a crazy respawn timer. It is about 7 to 10 minutes after that one is killed. I know a lot of people are just a bunch of tools and they'll kill just her and leave the pack open. Now if you guys see the pack roaming and no I forgot her name, it's like it starts with an A, and if she's not in that pack, you have to kill the pack for the entire thing to reset because she's not going to respawn. I'm actually thinking about doing a video based off of these boots in general, just because of how much of a pain in the ass it is to get. You have to follow her path, you have to find out where she is. So I'm gonna go ahead and do an actual separate video probably after this video, kind of explaining how to get the Trailblazer Boots, because it is a pain in the ass to do. It took me, I want to say, like 3 hours just to figure out what the hell was going on, her path, where she was, and then finally realized that the entire pack needed to die for her to respawn. So this will be a separate video. Don't worry if you guys don't know how to do this. If you don't, just stay tuned and I'll go ahead and be posting a video on this. But moving on to the ring, Seal of Sylvanas is huge. This is where Horde gets their favoritism as well with boots and rings. It's not as good as Seal of Rin, but Seal of Sylvanas is going to be the Horde choice. Seal of Rin is going to be your guys's for the Alliance. So lucky you guys with the Alliance, you guys get a nice little ring. That's going to be your two rings that you guys are going to be flopping to depending on your faction. You're going to get the Legionnaires band. This is also through phase 2, so you have to wait. Don't worry, there are other alternatives that you guys can do in terms of replacing this, which is the Meadow Ring of the Monkey. Like I said, it's just like the Scouting Gloves. You want to find the +3 stamina and +3 agility. There is a +2 stamina, 3 agility, and there's a +3 agility, 2 stamina, or +2 agility, 3 stamina. So it kind of flip-flops, but you want to find the +3 for stamina and agility. That's going to be your alternative until phase 2 comes out, and you guys are able to equip the Legionnaires band, or for the Alliance, the Protectors band. If you guys don't know where those vendors are, it's pretty easy to find. I know the Horde vendors are within the Morshong base camp, which is just the border of Ashenvale and the Barrens. Pretty common find. You guys can find that on the internet. Same with the Alliance. Alliance is a little bit more complicated when it comes to finding it in the Ashenvale. It's like the border. I want to say it's near the lake. It's like in this general area. It's where you kind of want to go for the item. Got the goblin coming down. Place the chest that I'm already on. Dope. For the trinkets, you're going to want to go for Arena Grandmaster and the Insignia of the Horde, or if you're an Alliance, the Insignia of the Alliance. This is crucial. Cannot explain that, or I cannot stress that enough. When it comes down to getting a trinket, you need this one. This one is huge for PvP. Getting out of those stuns, getting out of those fears, if you're not an undead, is just, it's essential to have regardless. This is best in slot by far. But if you guys can't get this, your alternative is going to be the minor recombobulator, which you can get now until the phase 2 comes out and you're able to obtain this. Most people aren't going to have an AGM just because of how insane some servers are. Don't worry, your time will come. You'll eventually get it. Other than that, you're going to be rocking the minor recombobulator until either of these trinkets are available to you. If you can't get the Arena Grandmaster still, the gnomes are able to get a revive. I think it's called like the jumper cables. Only gnomes can get it. It's real weird. The gnomish engineering, believe it is, or if it's just available to gnomes. But you guys are able to get the gnomish jumper cables, revive somebody from the dead. If you guys want both trinkets to be filled. Other than that, you guys can be going for the minor recombobulator just until these two are available. And now let's lead into the weapons, which is the Shadow Fang and the Assassin's Blade, which is going to be your main common go-to weapons when it comes to regular auto attacks and just typical fighting. The Shadow Fang, you're going to want to go ahead and put lifestealing on this. It is, in my opinion, a waste if you're putting 15 agility on this. There's just no need for it. Put lifestealing on it. That is the way to go for a Shadow Fang, for the main hand. And then your offhand, you're going to have Assassin's Blade, put 15 agility on that bitch, slaying it out. You guys could go for 2 Assassin's Blades or 2 Shadow Fangs if you guys want. That way you can have 2 sets of enchants. You can put Fury Weapon, I believe it's called, on both of the weapons, and that is very good for an FC burn down. If you guys are going for the MC, just put Fiery Weapon on both of your weapons. Huge for EFC fights. But if you're just casually fighting in the mid and taking out people, 15 agility, lifestealing is going to be the way. Now when it comes to ambushes, you're going to want to go for the cool carb. You guys can get this from the Dead Mines, comes from Van Cleave. RNG is all dependable on how to get this. Now, like I said before, since it does require a solid drop to get, same with the Black and Defiance armor, which I actually got my first run, first try, which was pretty dope. But Cruel Carb isn't the same. I think it's a lower drop rate than the chest piece, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, this is what you're going to use for your ambush. You're going to go ahead and swap this out. Shadow Fang, you're going to put the Assassin's Blade into your main hand, and this is going to be your offhand for the maximum ambush rate. So this is going to be your ambush weapon. You're not going to be really using this a lot. You could dual wield Cruel Barbs and enchant them with Crusader. That's a fun experience, but it's not something you're going to commonly be using. You're typically going to be using Shadow Fang and Assassin's Blade, but Cruel Carb is going to be your assassination item. Go ahead and do that. And I did forget one boot that you can get, which is the Nat Paggle's Extreme Angling Boots. You guys can get this from the Fishing Extravaganza as well, which comes in phase 4, like I mentioned. 12 stamina is nuts to have. It's good for FCs, but typically you just want to cop this for increased fishing +5, just in case your lucky fishing hat doesn't drop and you guys get this fish instead. You guys can have an extra +5 fishing to help you out in the extravaganza. But for your weapon of range is going to be the Venom Strike for a rogue. You're going to go ahead and put +7 damage scope onto that. Obviously, a 19 cannot do that, so you got to have a 60 do that for you. Go ahead and put that in the non-trade window and apply the +7 damage to it, and you're pretty much set on your 19 Twink. Typically, you're going to have 135 agility, depending on what you're going to be running. With gloves and whatnot, you could have a little bit more if you want that glass cannon, but like I said, I personally like a little survivability in my builds, so I just put these gloves on instead. But typically this is your best in slot Twink for gear wise. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the macros now. These are some common macros that you guys can use to kind of help you out. Like I said, making your gameplay a little smoother, little tips and tricks. When you guys are swapping to your main hand and offhand for your weapons, this is going to be your typical, you know, slicing and dicing, Shadow Fang, Assassin's Blade offhand. Just go ahead and put this on right here. This is going to be your macro in terms of regular fighting, and then when you go to ambush, you go ahead and click this macro and it'll swap weapons to Cool Carb and to Assassin's Blade. That way you guys are having the proper slots and you guys don't have to manually open your bags and just swap into it, because that is a pain in the ass. Oh, one thing I did mention, if you guys can't get the Shadow Fang, Wing Blade. I was currently rocking a Wing Blade for the longest time. It's another question that you guys can do. Wing Blade until you can get Shadow Fang. That is another really good option to do. Just saying. Anyways, back to the macros and whatnot. Here's a sap macro. A lot of you guys see me do this on retail when I was playing my Twink for 70s. This is the PvP sap macro where you can spam it if you guys are trying to find someone, catch someone out of stealth, whether it's a druid, whether it's... I don't think druids have cat form at 19. Don't quote me on this. But if you're trying to find a rogue, this is a good sap macro you guys can use to spam to try to get that other rogue out of stealth. Or if you're just trying to find that hunter that's just wanting to sit in shadow meld, you know, you got those people sometimes. So this is a good way to get them out of stealth. If you guys want to do some mouse over kicks, here's a good mouse over macro you guys can use. I like to do the announcement when it says, hey, I just sapped so-and-so. The chest just disappeared. Dope. I just sapped so-and-so. It kind of lets everybody in the group know, hey, this person just got sapped. It doesn't have to be a group announcement. You could change this to like /yell or like, hey, I just sapped, or I just interrupted so-and-so. It's a good mouse over macro for when you're attacking somebody and you just quick cast or silent cast a healer or just any type of DPS that's casting at you at the moment. You just need to get a quick kick off. That way you can finish off your main target. Really, really useful. Highly recommend using something that is key. Another key one is the drop flag and sap macro. This has a very high skill cap when it comes to this. You guys got to know when to use it and how to use it. Obviously, you can't be using this when you're going up against a hunter that's already attacking you. It's really good for like melees, like a warrior or a rogue that you guys are going up against. What this typically does is it will drop the flag, put you in stealth, and sap the person. Then you just pick up the flag and keep running. It's a very, very, very pro outplay mechanic that you definitely should like learn how to use in terms of rogues being FCs if needed. If you guys are on the Horde side, or if you guys are on the Alliance side, obviously you're not going to put Silver Wing flag. Go ahead and put Warsong flag. That is the name of the flag. This is the classic way of dropping a flag, stealthing, and sapping. Typically you want to do a cheap shot, but obviously 19s don't have that available to them yet. So I'm just going to use sap instead. I replace sap with cheap shot, or I replace sap with cheap shot to kind of make up for what you're doing here. Another good one is the stealth macro. Now you're probably wondering, why do I need a stealth macro? Now this is really good if you're running away from somebody and you just need to pop stealth because everyone's running at you. You really just don't want to run and, you know, obviously keybind stealth. But this is a good stealth macro that you guys can use if you need to pop it while you're waiting to get out of combat. So the moment you're out of combat, boom, you're in stealth. And I typically keybind this and my regular stealth that's on my action bar separately. That way if I want to manually leave stealth, I could just use this keybind instead. This keybind right here is good because if you accidentally click it while you're in stealth, it's not going to unstealth you. You'll still stay stealth because the purpose of it is to keep you in stealth, not to take you out of it. So that's why I do two different manual keybinds when it comes to these two macros. Another useful PvP macro is a grenade macro. You can make these in PvP for engineering as a 19. Obviously you can't use the stun ones. I think that's a thorium. Obviously we can't make those yet, but we can make DPS grenades, which I have used recently doing world PvP. I think about 2 days ago I was using them. This is a very good macro. What this typically does is instead of like clicking the keybind for, or not clicking, this keybinding in general for your grenade and then dragging it wherever you need it, what this will do is it will spawn the item where your cursor is, so you don't have to drag it. So you can just kind of point, use the macro, and then boom, it uses it right where your mouse is. It's very simple, very quick, very useful. Something I highly recommend using. Don't have to use it if you don't want to. It's no big deal. These are here for your guys's knowledge, so you guys can use it in the future. Alright, so that's about it in terms of the macros. Let's go ahead and jump right into the talents. Typically, you're going to want to run combat. Combat is going to be your go-to main spec. You want to put 2 into improve sinister strikes, obviously for the more damage output, to apply more sinister strikes to that target. Improve gouge and precision. Improve gouge, you want the longest gouge, that way you can do the CCs just right. If you need to get away, you have a longer CC out there for you. And then obviously precision to increase that chance on all your melee weapons by 5%. A hit cap is huge for rogues. This is a necessity. Obviously, there's other builds in terms of sub. If you guys want to do an ambush build, assassination builds as well. If you guys want to do and damage increase on other things. But personally, combat, this is going to be your once in a lifetime opportunity, if you know what I mean. But this is going to be your main talent spec that you're going to want to do. Improve sinister strike, improve gouge, and precision. All 10 points put into combat. In my opinion, this is the best. You guys can explore, go into an ambush build. You can do other builds, which is fine. You know, you do you. But personally, 100% of the time, I'm going to be running this build right here. In my opinion, it's just the best damage output you guys are going to get for your rogue. I like it because the gouge build is, in my opinion, very good for rogues and 19s. It's a good kiting mechanic to use. That way it's a longer gouge. It's a good CC if you're trying to do a 2v1. So I mean, overall, I personally prefer the gouge build out of all the other builds. But other than that, that's about it in terms of information on 19 rogues. I'm pretty sure I may have left out something. If you guys notice something that I left out and I haven't mentioned it, go ahead and put it in the comment section down below. Not gonna hate on anybody, you know, all information is definitely useful for everybody, but I'm pretty sure I covered just about damn near everything that you guys need to know for 19 Twink. Some mechanics that you guys could do with macros or just talent builds and the gears and whatnot for alternatives. So if you guys did enjoy this video, drop a like. If you really like to give it a favorite, commenting is free as well as subscribing. It's been Resto, guys. See you guys next time.